Hello everybody, CJ here, your local friendly technology addict, and this is the Tech Addict's Attic. So I'm going to apologize right off the bat for three things. One, I'm using an external microphone. That should make audio better, but there will be times when I go a little bit beyond the microphone and you will not be able to hear a word that I say. I do not have any kind of an amplifier on it right now. I'm not even working on my amplifier. I'm going to change up the design on it, and I want to try a few things before I finalize anything. Secondly, I apologize for the white balance because all of the automatic white balance modes on this thing are just not working with the light that I've got. And manual isn't perfect, but it's the best I can do, and this is the closest to actual color representation that you're going to get. And third, I apologize if I sound like I've got a cold. I don't. I'm allergic to something in the air. I went through 20 years of my life not having allergies. And then one day they hit. And now it seems like I am allergic to everything under the sun. Anyway, moving on. So, we're going on a trip, right? And we're going to be away for a couple days. And I know that I'm going to want to take pictures. And I know that I'm not going to want to take two different phones with me so that I can have pictures. So I want to be able to use Bob here to take my pictures. Great. Well, that right there, that's going to make that kind of hard. So I need to fix that, right? I've got one coming from China. It should be here by next year. But in the meantime, if I want to take pictures with this phone, I'm going to have to figure something out, right? So, those of you with kids will recognize what this is. Okay, for those of you who don't have kids, this is the packaging, or part of the packaging, to a toy. You know, the clear window that's on the front of the box. They glue it to the cardboard, and, well, I cut these out. I save them. Because from time to time they come in handy. And I think this is one of those times. I had a much larger one, much thicker one. And as you can see, looking at that Blackview label, it's actually not that bad. Wow, I didn't realize how low the camera was on this thing. Now, granted, it's going to mess with my image quality. That's without, and that's with. It will mess with the image quality a little bit, but I think if I can polish it up good, and I've still got to decide how I'm going to do that, but I'm going to polish it up good. I'll cut out just the right size there. And then I think what I'm going to do is use some 3M spray adhesive. I don't really trust adhesive with non-porous plastic on non-porous plastic on non-porous plastic. That shouldn't be so hard to say. Um, so I don't know how it's going to work, and then I'm going to have to figure out a way to either mask the camera holes or plug them with something so that I don't get any adhesive on the cameras themselves, because I would like to do this without taking the phone apart. And then we'll see if I can't get something that'll at least last me a week or two. It won't necessarily be waterproof, but I don't necessarily expect to take my phone underwater either, because not only is that cracked, but also the speaker down here got damaged, and if it got damaged, I don't know what kind of seals might have been broken. So I'm going to have to take this. I'm sitting here looking at how it's made. Yeah, I'm going to have to take the sides off in order to take the back cover off in order to get to the speaker, in order to make sure the seals are good, which of course voids the warranty. But you know what? At least I don't have to wait for 2 months for it to go to China and back for them to fix it. But I digress. So, without further ado, I got my handy dandy trusty little X-Acto knife there. I've got my scraps that I'm going to try. I'm going to try the thick one first because honestly, yeah, it's thicker. Honestly, I think that it's a cleaner, clearer, more durable plastic. Honestly, they're probably the same plastic, it's just this piece is thicker, which means it'll be harder to cut, it'll be harder to work with, but we'll see what we do. And I'm going to go ahead and pause this and move it out of my way so that I don't wind up cutting myself trying to look at it on the screen. And we'll see how we go. And besides, I got some chores to do, so I'll probably have to pause this in the middle anyway. Maybe there is a way that I can do this. Because you all know how much I love to talk, right? Yeah, not really. Of course, getting everything in position to be able to do this. Now, the piece that I cut this from was actually a pretty large sheet, but I wanted to use a part that was mostly unusable for anything else. I mean, I don't know what I'm ever going to use these for. Like, I had no idea that I would ever be using it for this. Alright, so I want to move this over here so that I can actually apply some pressure. Lost it. Honestly, it would be easier with a Sharpie. Actually, that's a pretty good position right there. You can almost see what I'm doing if I didn't have my hand moving. Alright, so now I've got a small mark on here, right? Excuse me. I'll just go ahead and cut this one piece out. And I have learned when cutting plastic like this to make use of these factory bends that they do. Yep, somebody drove down the street. Ring doorbells letting me know. Hate Ring doorbell. And I hear that Amazon owns them now, so yay. They're going to get even better. Probably sitting there writing a computer algorithm to watch me open my keys up when I'm walking out the door so that they can tell when it gets worn out so they can tell me when I need to order a new one, right? I wouldn't be surprised if that's in the works. So basically it's at this point just a matter of trimming it to shape it and then polishing it and all that. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video again because you guys don't care about that. I know this. I'll be right back. Alright, so I've got it pretty well shaped, at least roughly. And we're going to see here. It's not perfect, but it should fit. Got a little bit of a trim to make here. Excuse me. The trim phase goes a bit slower because you can't make these big, long, straight cuts. I need to stop watching Archer. And I probably need to make this just a little bit narrower. You know, I was going to polish this too. I just got to figure out how I'm going to do that. So I guess it's time to go ahead and start prying that glass out. Now, I'm a little bit concerned by the LED because there's a bit of a you can almost see it on the back side of the reflection. So I know that's a bright light that I got up there, but if you look on this side of that round circle, you can see it comes up at a different point. There's a bit of a concavity to that, and I don't know if that's a big deal or not. And you know, I'm sitting here, I'm about to pry this out over here. I really should be prying it out on the glass that's already broken, because that will be easier to bloop, remove. Probably not a good idea to be flicking it toward myself without wearing protective eyewear. Yeah, this is definitely not the same grade of glass that the screen is made of. But it does appear, at least, to be somewhat adhered to a backing film, which could be good for me. I might, if that film is adhesive, although honestly no, because if that adhesive is as tightly molded to the glass as I'm thinking, then that means where the glass is shattered, the adhesive will have witness marks in it. Especially if I can't get the glass out of this. So this is going to be a little bit long and drawn out of a process. Yeah, I got glass going everywhere. I'm going to have to clean up this table real good tonight. And yeah, I can see on the backing layer, the adhesive or whatever that is, there are definite marks on there from the glass. But we'll pop the camera open, not the camera app. We'll open the camera app, and after I get the glass out of the way, and see how it does. Okay, so I've got all these shards of glass all over this thing here, and all over my table, where they have bounced off and missed other objects. And you know, come to think of it, I might even have some in my coffee. That'll be fun. But we've got the camera hole relatively exposed, so I'm just going to open that real quick. Where are we? There we are. Yeah, we don't need to see my ugly mug. And looky there. Granted, it still focuses just like any other Android camera. Gotta hit it a few times, but we've got a good clear image there. So I'm confident the camera itself, I already was confident that the camera itself was still good. So it's just a matter of cleaning all of this out without getting any crap down inside the mechanisms. That's going to be the hard part, because I'm having to work on it kind of upside down almost to prevent any of that from getting in there. And it's a little bit of a slow process, so you guys, you know, it's a good thing I've got pause on my record, because this is going very, very slowly. And yeah, if there was a film there, it is not around the lenses. So like the glass that goes down here where everything's held together with this backing film. Actually, maybe that's not a backing, maybe that's just an adhesive layer. I could get lucky. That adhesive layer might just peel off and the replacement glass might have one on it. Man, I wish I had some double sticky tape. Like really good double sticky tape. I could fabricate. So if any of you have this problem and you're trying to do the same trick I'm doing, get you some double sticky tape too. And, you know, buy your kids some dolls or something so you get some of this plastic. Okay, so this whole thing got me thinking. This side is actually still intact for the most part. Yes, I do have a crack right here, but I think I'm going to leave that piece on. I'm going to leave the lens that is around the LED. In fact, that might actually just be part of the LED. I think maybe what it is the glass. You know what? That's what it is. That part's plastic. That's just part of the LED. And then this here is glass. It's got a hole in the middle for the LED to fit around. I should have seen that. Anyway, I'm going to leave the glass here on. And then I'm going to cut out a second piece. This is still slightly adhesive, but I'm going to go ahead and get some of that 3M adhesive spray. I'll find something to plug that there, that camera hole. And I'm going to take another one, a smaller piece of this plastic here that I was going to use. Actually, some of the scrap off the piece that I cut. I'm going to retrim this other piece after I polish it up with something. I don't know what, maybe a flannel cloth. We'll figure it out. And I'm going to fix that camera glass. Okay, so not that you could tell, but toothpaste on that pointy bit to the right. Yeah, there we go. That pointy. It would help if I talked into the microphone, right? So not that you could tell, but on this right side here where the pointy bit is, I used a small dab of Crest Complete whitening with scope. Not to be confused with windshield polish for motorcycles. That's what I need. I need, oh, what do they call it? Plastics. And guess what I have? Well, I don't have that, that's for sure. And that's what I need. I need windshield polish for a motorcycle. So, honestly, toothpaste is probably the closest thing I've got to any of that. And, yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else I might have. I don't even have any, like, aluminum polish or anything like that. I don't know what kind of chemicals I can do. So maybe I should just Google that crap. But, honestly, this isn't... The side that I haven't touched yet isn't really all that bad, and a few minor, mild, tiny scratches shouldn't be a big, huge deal with a camera with such a tiny little lens. So I'm thinking I'm just going to go ahead and use this as it is instead of trying to polish it, because honestly, I've got enough to make 100 of these things. And if I need to, if it doesn't work, then I'll work on polishing something else. But honestly, I think what I'll do is just wait for the proper part to come in. But the point being, if I needed to do this in the future, that's why I do these things, is I know I've got the part coming in. I don't care. I want to see if I can fix it myself. I want to see if I can take something that was meant for something else and hack it into this purpose here, you know. But naturally, if the right part is available, I would use the right part. It's just not available right now. It'll be here in a week or 3, right? Actually, they were pretty quick about shipping my phone to me. The problem is the glass screen protector took about a month and a half because they sent one through air freight and they sent the other through the boat. So the replacement camera glass is probably going to come through the boat. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do this. That way I can quit carrying 2 phones around just to take pictures. Okay, so one of the problems that if any of you guys try doing this, and I honestly do not recommend it because of all of these tiny little slivers of glass, it is quite easy for one of these to pop up. Even just me scraping them along the cutting board like I'm doing. If it catches in here just the right way, it could basically catapult it into the air, into my coffee, into my eyeball. There are too many things that can go bad, so I do not recommend any of you try this. However, I'm a realist, and I know that some of you are going to take it upon yourselves to be doing research or whatever to see if it's doable. Maybe somebody else has a similar problem with a similar phone, and they want to see, hey, how do I replace my camera glass using, cheap plastic from my kids' dolls or whatever. So I don't know how anybody's going to come across this video. There's my camera glass. Oh, and apparently some hair too. Yeah, we're human, we have hair. Anyway, one of the things that you're going to have to be careful of if you do this, is the idea is that I'm going to be reusing this little film, and I don't know if the camera is going to catch this, but of course not. It focuses on my knuckle. Come on, there we go. Now we're going to try. Oh, shh. Almost poked my knife right onto that lens, but anyway, you can see there. If I can get the knife in there right. You can see that there is still a film. Alright, that film I think is basically double sticky tape, and it goes the whole width, and the glass I'm going to assume has the appearance, like you can see around this one, it looks almost like there's a machining. Let me see it, there we go. You can see on the top right there, on the right side, because I'm looking at my phone sideways. You can see over here on the right side of the screen that there's this kind of a machining around the other camera lens. This one I think had it too, and I think that that's just a I don't know, it could be a thin sheet of plastic or whatever that they put in the glass, but I think it's just well, because if it was paint, it'll be all over this. And there's only a few pieces here that have the paint, so maybe it's on the film, and maybe this film is just kind of gankly looking. I don't know. Anyway, here's the thing. I'm going to try to reuse this film because it's still slightly adhesive, but I am going to use some of the 3M spray to increase the adhesion. But here's my problem, here's my dilemma. You can see these tiny little pieces that I've scraped out. I've still got tiny little pieces all in this. If you're going to do this, you got to get all those tiny little pieces out, or at least get them out of the way of where you're putting your oh, there's some glass right there, just straight up glass too. It's not even like I'm sitting here thinking there's tiny little pieces that I've missed. No, this is going to be interesting to try to, maybe I won't be able to use that film, or maybe I'll just leave those couple of tiny pieces there, because honestly I only need it to be this way for about a month, right? There, I got one piece. But yeah, you got to get all of these tiny pieces out, because otherwise you'll wind up, that little piece of glass is going to be a section where your replacement does not adhere. Now, I assume, I don't know, but I assume that the factory replacement will come with a replacement film as well. In fact, this film flexes underneath. You can see it on the screen there. So there's like some kind of a foam padding behind it. I'm going to assume that the replacement glass comes with the replacement adhesive film and the foam padding underneath. I do not know this. I have no reason to suspect this. I have no reason to assume this, but that's what I'm going to assume. It just seems to be the most logical thing to do. Because if you're going to replace a glass, you're going to want to have good adhesion. And if you don't have good adhesion, your glass isn't going to stay. And then your customer, or you as the customer, are going to return it, or you're going to call the manufacturer and complain, and they don't want that either. So the best thing for the manufacturer to do is to give the person doing the repair everything they're going to need to effect that repair properly and permanently. Of course, too, they want you to buy a new phone from them, so that repair won't be entirely permanent. It'll probably break something along the way, and you'll eventually get tired of repairing your crap, and then you'll go to the manufacturer and say, please sir, may I have another? This is a kind of drawn out process. I've been doing this for almost an hour now. And aren't you glad I can pause the video, because we're only 26 minutes in. Wow. So I'm going to pause it until I get closer to finishing, because when I hit 27 minutes, it's done. Actually, you know what? I'm almost done with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a part 2 video. So go ahead and look for that. I'm going to go ahead and get this one uploading. And while I get the 3M77 spray and all that, I'll get this continued, and I'll do a second video for that. So stay tuned and see how this turns out.